Hi, everybody. I kind of just want to take a couple minutes every day and just talk to you about some things and be some encouragement if we can. Today, let's think about this. I don't think there's anybody that's really not affected by what's going on right now. You're probably affected as one of two of these groups. If you're not now, you will be soon. The groups are like this. There's some people that are, because of what's going on, just incredibly inundated with the amount of work and stress and things going on, and they have so much happening now in their lives that it really can become very difficult for them. Healthcare workers, other people that are involved in some things that are essential for life are probably really just going through some extremes right now. And then there's a second group of people that is just a little bit different, actually 180 degrees opposite. They're the ones that now suddenly find themselves having just an amazing amount of time on their hands. Maybe they're quarantined at home or someplace where they just aren't able to do many of the things that they used to do in their lives. And even those who are working during the day right now, when they get home, are probably finding themselves in that kind of a situation. So the question that we ask is going to be this: what are we going to do with our time? What do you and I do, whichever group we fit into, what do we do with our time? And I think it's going to come down to the word that we would call scheduling. I saw a meme, kind of funny, saw a meme the other day that said something like this: I'm on my third day of homeschooling my children, and they're dealing with that scheduling. I'm on my third day of homeschooling my children, and I've come to realize that everything my teacher their teacher told me about them was actually true. And you can see how that person's running into the scheduling thing right now. Their kids are home with them, and they're trying to schedule all of them doing their homeschooling and all the other things that are going on, and they realize just the incredible difficulty of that. For my family, what my wife has done before she heads out in the morning is she's actually put a schedule on the kitchen table, and it tells the kids what they need to get done that day before one of us arrives home. And it's great, and it gives them all the things: feed the dog, this is the best one, move firewood. We're getting our firewood done right now thanks to everything that's happening. Get the firewood stacked. Here's your time schedule for getting your homework done, eat your lunch, and it kind of goes through all these things that she's scheduled in there for them, and it gets them on the routine and puts them in the direction that they need to be heading. The Bible has a lot to say, because we come into a time frame like this, and really we could go some different routes, and that could include things like laziness or things like having too much going on or whatever. But the Bible does, especially in the book of Proverbs, has a lot to say about scheduling and giving us ideas for how to do that. But I'm just going to read a few of the verses that are in here. Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 4 says this: "Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. And he who gathers crops in summer is a prudent son, but he who sleeps during harvest is a disgraceful son." And you can see what's being set up in there is the reality that those who are going to choose not to schedule, and not to put their minds at things, and not to work diligently during the times when things like that have to be done, and maybe they're harder, or maybe we have opportunities to be a little bit more lazy or whatever, those people are going to struggle throughout life, or those people are going to struggle short term or long term. It was interesting, and maybe you didn't know this, but what I found when I was reading the scriptures is there's actually a Bible passage that prepared us for the coronavirus. God must have known it was coming when he was talking about scheduling. All right, maybe not, but let me enlighten you with this passage from the book of Ecclesiastes. It says this. It is probably really familiar to you, but it talks about there's a time for everything going on. It says there's a time to be born, a time to die, and a time to plant, and a time to uproot, and a time to kill, and a time to heal, and a time to tear down and build and weep, a time to laugh and mourn and dance, a time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them. But this is where he knew what it was. He says there's a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. You see, apparently, this was the time that we would refrain from embracing. Well, maybe not. But the reality is, when we think about things like scheduling and things like that, God really does have some really great advice on it. Proverbs 21:5 says this: "The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. And we recognize this, and this is kind of what I want to just land you on for a little bit. How important it's going to be for each and every one of us right now to consider things like scheduling for what we're going to be doing and what's coming up, so that we don't get caught in one of two categories. Some of us might have to schedule sometimes just to say no. Time, because maybe we're so inundated with how many things are happening out there right now in our lives, and it's really just starting to go a little bit crazy. We might have to schedule a time to put our cell phones down. Somebody said to me, because they're one of the people that's in the healthcare industry and they're incredibly busy, and I was talking to them and they said, you know what I'm looking forward to is sleeping in on Saturday. That's good. And that's right, scheduling time to just come down off of everything that's going on. Now, for the rest of us might be saying, man, I'd love to have something to do so I didn't have to sleep in. And for those of us, we're going to have to think about things like scheduling our days and what's going on, and putting together a list of things that we can do that would make sure that we don't do. A person told me, they said, I spent all day one day on social media looking at everything that was going on because I had the time to do it, and it was incredibly disheartening to them. They said the next day I refused to even pick up my phone. So I would encourage all of us, let's think about those things and put together a schedule of things that you could do during the day with your family or with yourself, so that you set yourself up a plan and a direction to go, and God will do incredible things for your family and through that. A lot of you are doing the Lego thing, and we're doing that, kind of as a church, and people are building different Lego things with verses and different themes, and we're playing a game trying to catch. That's actually on my kids' schedule to do their Lego thing. So, whatever you're going to be doing, I just encourage you, make sure that you schedule, be willing to remain flexible when God calls you into a different spot, but always be ready to make a plan and head that direction. I'll leave you with this verse. Proverbs 16:9 says this: in their hearts, humans plan their course, but it's God that establishes their steps. Make your plan, but be willing to let God make adjustments.